Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Always so fun. Hope you guys are doing great today, having a blast. And if you're not already having fun, hopefully we're going to bring the fun.
Let's bring the fun. Come on.
Come on. You guys, we have a really special topic that Heidi and I were really chatting about. And with where technology is going in the world today, what we're seeing in our practice in our communities is people bringing us more information based off of AI and ChatGPT. So it's really interesting because there's some extreme value to see where AI is going in helping medicine. But at the same time, what we're realizing is people are relying on something that doesn't know them as a personal human, right? And that humanness in it is something that we cannot afford to lose in our wellness practice. And we're really here to ask you guys is, what's your relationship with your practitioners?
Yeah, exactly. It's such a good question. And it was interesting as Kelly and I were talking that we were both experiencing that same thing, that people coming to us say, well, I looked it up in ChatGPT and it said this, and I should do this. And I'm having more and more people say, well, I put my blood work in ChatGPT and it said this and that's different from what you said, and so I'm having to go, and it almost feels like defending myself, right? But it's not a defense, because that relationship is so important, because the person knows you, they know your lifestyle, they know your history, where you've come from. It's very different from just gathering data and spewing out some sort of algorithm that says, well, you should take this and this. While it might be right, how you do it, dosing, timing, your specifics for you and what you're dealing with is so important to have that relationship with your practitioner.
I just find it fascinating because sometimes, like, we all now are using AI to help us create things as needed. But it's so unique that if we could throw everything to AI, if we could make protocols and cookie cutters for everybody, then that'd be fabulous. And if that really worked, then that's all just that kind of traditional medicine has gone that route,
Right.
right? Like, this is a medicine, everybody, you have it this number, everybody takes it, this dose, it's all the same. We know, and you guys are experiencing out there, and you're saying, like, oh, I went to my doctor, they're wanting me to go on this, but then I said, well, what about XYZ? Or how about with me, because I have this, that, and the other, maybe it's not so good. And then they're like, okay, let's rethink this. So
Mhm.
there is a value to having dialogue and having this discussion, which we can't have necessarily with this AI, even though it may be give us some leading questions, give us some reason to ask more. Um,
Yeah.
so we think it's pretty interesting because there could be things that we haven't thought about. Something else comes up. It just gives us more ability to analyze and have better critical thinking and, like, oh wow, let's have a better discussion. And the other tool, Heidi, that I think is so beautiful is you come back to Heidi or I, or you're back in our community and you're like, I did this, but this happened. And then we're like, oh my gosh, well, of course. And everyone's experience is so different. And we get to, like, help each other out and, like, almost this little mini brainstorming container. But like you and I said, it's this web that keeps everybody so connected, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that intricacy, that that is the humanness of all of us, and this energy that AI will never have, can't have with us.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love what you pointed out, that it helps us have more critical thinking. And that's, I think, how we can use it, because we are so bombarded every day with our to do list, answering emails, demands of other people, schedules, even scrolling social media. These kinds of things keeping us, our thinking, fractionated and not centered. And this is where I think AI can be really useful, is to help us become more critical thinking, ask better questions, because we're only as good as the questions we ask, correct? And, and so we can use it in that way. But then, to your point, we cannot take out the humanness of it, because we as a human people, as a community, it's a web. We're all connected. It's all connected. We're connected, earth connected, sky connected, plant, tree, all of it connected, and it moves and it shifts according to different times of the year, struggles, resilience, and the resilience of that web is the community that we build, the support from other people, not a pill, not an AI, but the support from friends, neighbors, family, etc. That's the strong web that we can't lose connection with. And our practitioners is a big part of that web pulling and strengthening and resilience building, don't you think?
Oh my goodness, yes. And the other part, Heidi, is which, it goes along with AI, but a little different is right now we can get technology and information at our fingertips. And one of those ways, which is beautiful, is the as podcasting. And here we are on a podcast, right? So we thank you guys for being here. But because there's so many podcasts, it gets easy for people to grab what this person said and grab what this person said and grab what this person said, but that person doesn't know you. And even
Yeah.
Heidi and I sometimes speak in generalities because we have to. We're not
Mhm.
talking about a person unless we were talking about like a case study or something. So we try to speak in terms of the best for longevity as how the biology of us works, but that's not necessarily for each one of us. So I would implore you in your journey, it's this partnering with somebody versus saying, oh, let me just do this what this person said and this what this person said and this what this person said, and that's odd, these aren't working for me. It's you're missing, that's the piece you're missing. And I just was on a call this morning with a woman who said, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I could just take a whole bunch of stuff at one time. I could start a bunch of new things. My body seemed to just adapt and tolerate things well. And now I hit my 40s and I have to be very selective with starting one thing and letting my body see how it rolls and adapts and starting another thing because I'm less aware when I just start adding these things, and especially like you and I have talked about when you're taking products from a variety of companies that don't all work well together. Sometimes that's why certain companies build things in synergies, which it's like, oh my gosh, yes, the body likes all this. So when someone says, oh, I will just use, we were talking about NAD. And now there's so many NAD precursors on the market. And it's like, well, all of these NAD precursors are all working differently. And now you're taking that with your other things from 5 other companies, and they're not made to work together. That's not how they were created. And so it's really, I would just say be careful of well, this is the best product from here and the best product from here and the best product from here, just because all the podcasts say. Bring those to your practitioner, or instead of buying them, talk to your practitioner.
Yeah, exactly. I love that because, our conversation to let, so I'll let y'all in on our conversation, Kellie's Eyes Coffee. It started out with, talking about what's your biggest competition? Is it AI? Is it ChatGPT? And I said, no, my biggest competition is podcasts because people come in with why this podcast said this and this podcast said this. And most of the time, I'm in a line with that practitioner, whoever's on that podcast, that I think is brilliant and smart and their choices are great, but they don't know you. And I know you. And so let's just figure out. And I love that part that you bring it up, Kellie, of the synergy of things. Because if you're just mishmashing it out and you assume, the assumption is, I'm just going to put it in my body and it's going to work. Not so true, right? Let's be intentional. Let's know who you are. Let's look at your blood work. Let's know how you metabolize things and really sort of curate what's good for you. It's not some nebulous sort of idea out there on a podcast that is the right answer for you. So talk about it with your practitioner, have that relationship, and that most of all, that trust. It's about trust building, isn't it, Kellie?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I will also say with that is Heidi went to school and basically kind of many of us as practitioners, we start school, but even though we get our credentials, it never ends. We're learning and we're learning, and we have maybe whether it's a certification or we've just done a deep dive and learned something. Um, and that learning turns us, each one of us, into something like very unique and different. So our experience with things will continue to unfold. And why I really bring that up is coming to an individual with a title, right? Whether it's a physical therapist, a health coach, a naturopath, a chiropractor, acupuncturist. Sometimes in our mind, we label what an acupuncturist should and shouldn't be able to do, or that's only their wheelhouse. Oh, you're an ND, you should just be, this is your wheelhouse, Heidi. But the learning has gone on way beyond, and the 20, 30 years of seeing people's made the learning go on. Like, whoa, because real life learning is also very different than sometimes the textbooks tell us. And so, with your practitioner, like, you've got to know them as a whole person, and their learning sometimes goes beyond their credentials. So, be be an avid consumer to find a practitioner that you can have a good rapport with. I mean, when people were coming to me for physical therapy all the time and they'd say like, "Who would you recommend for this?" And I'd say, "You know what? I often don't recommend a physical therapy. I recommend a physical therapist because one of the most important things is that person's ability to have rapport with you.
Yeah,
If you find that you and that person just don't connect, you don't have a rapport, they could be telling you the right things, but something will tell you in your body like that's not good for me. You don't have the belief in them, so then you don't have the belief in the product. And that's pretty fascinating that through the subconscious mind, through the placebo, through whatever, we can alter what things do to our, actually how well they work or don't work in our bodies.
absolutely. That's so true, Kelly. That you hit on so many great points. I don't even know where to start, but ditto what she said.
And so, I mean, I guess like interview practitioners, meaning like go experience. And if you feel like it's just not a good fit, that's okay, right? We want you to feel you're safe with us, you're safe with that person, you feel really connected to them because that really does matter a lot.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's one thing we have been hearing more and more of how much frustration people have with, well, I feel like my doctor is just not listening to me,
yeah,
right? And whether it's in wherever you're meeting that doctor, right? In alternative medicine, traditional medicine, who doesn't matter. That is just the most important thing because as a human being, our human need is to feel seen and heard. And
yeah,
so if you don't feel seen and heard and loved, just connected with them, that they have your best interest in mind, it's like, yeah, no, this isn't for me. And so that sometimes that might mean spending a little bit of money because you have to go to another place and but it's really valuable. And I would say don't wait until you have a crisis on your hands. You really want to have a practitioner that has your back so that when something like that happens, it's already this relationship has been built.
yeah, exactly. It's so important to, yeah, to take that time to interview practitioners. Long ago when my aunt, my dearest aunt, and I, we were looking for an oncologist who was willing to incorporate our beliefs of acupuncture, herbology in the treatment of her cancer. And I'm telling you, we interviewed maybe 5 or 6 doctors, and within the first 10 minutes, we knew straight away this is not going to happen. We had to pay that doctor's fee every single time, but we were glad to do it to really pinpoint and find that right practitioner to work with us to create that community. Like, I bring it around full circle, the community of healthcare practitioners for her safety, her alignment with what she felt in her soul and spirit. And it worked for us. But it really taught me about that interview process. Like, sit down and talk, ask them for an appointment. They'll be a little bit taken back especially in the standard medicine. Those of us in functional medicine, we're very much used to that. But in standard medicine, they're not used to they just make an appointment and you're going to take my advice and that's it, right? And I'm going to bill your insurance and bada bing, bada boom.
That's right.
No, just go in and say, no, I really just want a consultation with you. And I want to see if we're aligned. And you'll be surprised how many doctors will be taken back, but how many will really respect you for it. So be intentional, be picky, but get alignment with somebody.
Get alignment. And what I'll add for all of us is sometimes life gets pretty full, busy, hectic, and the when your practitioner is giving you advice, you're like, oh yeah, 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 I'm doing it. But you're not really practicing it. Or you're taking the pill, but you're not doing the other things that you need to do. I would say you have the most power. We are in so much control of our biology, biochemistry, our nervous system, and you have more power to heal and regulate yourself than anyone else. So don't just think, oh, I'm have this great rapport with this person and they're just always going to fix me. No, we fix ourselves. They're really like we're all just the guide and saying like this would be a better direction. You probably should take this, right? But it's up to each one of us. I just don't want you to put your power elsewhere. Like your power's in the hands of another person. No, the power's in your hands. So do your research, do your due diligence, ask great questions, and then bring it all back together and be the one to say, you know what, thank you for the help and the guidance, and I am going to be empowered and I am going to take control of my health. And that's where a beautiful partnership is we want our patients to be able to walk away to say, I'm so glad you're doing that and implementing that and taking control of that because it's your health and your body, and then it works just so beautifully like you said, Heidi, and ultimately not even just a practitioner and a client, but even when you're in community of like-minded people of that web of your life to keep us in the fullest health we can.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to end, Kellie. It's
I love
awesome.
it. I love it, right? It's the web. So, you guys, we just hope this gave you some talking points and maybe some critical thinking in are you really building rapport with your practitioners? Certainly AI can be used to our benefits, but don't just rely on AI as like, oh, then it must be true. And it must be true
Yes.
for me, right?
Yeah.
Again, no, through trust and relationships. And for each and every one of you, make sure you're really sitting and knowing your own body.
Yeah. Information is power, but only power in your hands and how you use it.
Uh, my little quote that I began saying with that, Heidi, is because knowledge is power has kind of been out there, but I said, but
Uh-huh.
applied knowledge, your applied knowledge makes it your superpower, right?
Exactly. I love it.
Go put on your cape, you guys. Put on that superpower cape. And
There you go.
cheers. There we go, right? Get that posture.
Right?
Cheers to a beautiful health.
Yep. Take care, everyone. Be well.
See you soon.